One each.
Okay.
Marlene is like, can we just be my turn now?
Well, I'm actually trying to figure out what trees are planted right in front. Are they almonds? Are they walnuts?
Is that what happens when you're just driving around? What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would love to be in your brain for a single day.
All right, here we go. Marlene is here. More questions for her. The first one is lemons. What causes oversized fruit on the upper part of the tree? Regular sized fruit on the lower part.
Yes, so this is a great example of when the rootstock takes over. So citrus is grafted, you have the scion, which is the desirable part, and then you have the rootstock. And they graft the ones you want to grow on top of the rootstock, but sometimes that rootstock will take over. It's more vigorous generally, and a lot of times it's a fruiting variety. So if you have two distinct fruits, that means you have to trace the fruit that is not what you want and trace it all the way back to the ground and remove it. Now, normally any time of year you do want to remove the rootstock, anything coming up from it, but coming into winter, once again, you don't really want to prune your citrus, and without seeing how much of the rootstock there is, it could be 50%, it could be 70% of the plant. That's too much to prune right now before we get cold, because the parts that's been protected by that rootstock and is now completely susceptible to the cold. So I would wait till spring, but then you have to remove anything coming up from the ground or below that graft line.
Okay. And this one is here. How do I keep these eugenias alive until the holidays are over? I didn't even know they're called eugenias.
Yes, there's actually, there's edible fruit. I'm not going to say it's grapefruit. It tastes bizarre, but I ate it growing up at my grandma's and we have one at work. But it's a nice, people grow it as a hedge. It could be grown as a single trunked tree. They can be a little frost sensitive. That's why you don't see them everywhere, but this one's grown into a topiary. So any of these plants that you're going to bring in for the holidays will make it through a few months of this low sun. What you do want to prevent is don't put it right by a heater vent. Dry air will hurt a plant more than anything. Of course, water it. You don't want to overwater it. Make sure the water doesn't stain in the saucer. So make sure the water goes all the way through, and dig into the soil to make sure you're getting all the soil moist. And probably by the time the holidays are over, you'll probably start noticing some yellow leaves, and then move it out. But since this one can be go through a shock for moving to warm to outside, I'd move it to a covered patio, and then by spring move it out. Okay, and final question here is why is this turning yellow? What is this plant? It's a citrus, and citrus will get cold-induced nitrogen. Usually you see that at the end of winter. It's just because they're not taking up as much water, i.e. not as much nitrogen. But this time of year, coming out of their growth period, they may be low in nitrogen, especially if it's in a pot. So a good citrus fertilizer is always a good idea year-round. I'm not too concerned about this. The little leaf tips here, they can get a little boron and salt burn as well, especially if they're in a pot. When the whole entire leaf starts turning yellow and you have it in a pot, that's when you want to make sure that you are fertilizing it. And sort of the same rules go. If you fertilize now, is it going to put on new growth? And is that new growth going to be sensitive to the cold? But generally, it's going to take that fertilizer a bit to get into it. So I would say a little bit is okay. All right. Marlene the Plant Lady can be found on Instagram and Facebook. And if she doesn't get to your question, you can always send her a direct message through one of those. Yeah. And apparently Ashley could be found in my brain sometimes. I don't know.
No, I would like to be found.
You would like to be, okay.
While you're driving around like, what kind of orchard is that?
Exactly.
Oh, that's a apple orchard.
But then I'm like, ooh, look at that cat. Let's go get it.
A lot going on in there.
Yeah. All right, The Plant Lady, KMXTV.com.
Time now.